All right, folks, welcome back to Mockup. So this lesson is going to be more technical in nature. This lesson really harnesses a lot of the mockups that you see, and I've drilled it down to a fundamental series of 4 things. So we're talking about composing your mockup shots. When you compose your mockup shots, what you're going to want to be thinking about first and foremost, harness the rule of 3s, right? In photography, we talk about those thirds areas being essential to point of focus. Now, I'm not here to talk to you about the rule of thirds, but even in the design world, if you've got 3 objects on a shelf and they have 3 different levels, you're going to have more visual interest. Odd numbers, for some reason, tend to work better in design compositions than, say, even numbers. So, usually when I look at mockups, there's no more than 3 or maybe 4 things. I would say keep it to 3. The only time I see 4 is when they're trying to create a lifestyle mockup in which they've got the hat, the sunglasses, the boots, the shirt, the coat, right? And they're selling the entire experience. Now, the other thing, keep focus in mind. Remember that the eye will go toward those things that are in sharper focus. So if you want the customer to be seeing your product at this point, make the rest out of focus. You can do lens blurs, you can go Gaussian blurs, you can do anything you want with it really. Sometimes the way that I shoot, I tend to have a lot of extreme focus in the back part and I keep the front part generally hazy. So we're going to be treating our mockup the same way. The third thing that you're going to want to keep in mind, and I mentioned this in other videos, make space. Now what do I mean by make space? Do not crowd your mockup. When you compose your mockup, think about what somebody wants to be able to do with it. Then think about the space that they need to present their product and put first things first. Now, the other thing that I'm going to tell you, I call it angles, right? Angles and accents. The way that you look at this, when you start shooting, look at the angle in which it's presented. As an example, if I'm doing a technological piece, let's say on an iPad, I don't want to lay that iPad completely flat because then when the person who's using it has to put their image on it, they have to perspective warp that thing down until all of a sudden you can't hardly see it. So think about it. Usually this is reserved more for cinematographers, let's say, but think about the angle that you're shooting and the accent pieces that you're putting with it. So you might have 3 pieces. They might have good focus in your shot, but yet if the angle is wrong and it's not strong, you may have issues going forward. Your mockup won't be as good as it could be. Now, the last thing that I'll tell you, you're going to want to pay attention to your lighting. Sometimes you want an ambient soft light, sometimes you want a very hard light. If you're doing a lot of screens, you don't want a hard light because now you have to take multiple shots or you have to go through and heal the image. And when you put your mockup in it, it could very easily get jacked up. So think about your lighting, think about your angles and your accents, think about your focus, give it room to breathe. And I guess I went to 5. Consider the rule of 3s when you do your mockups. All right, let's go ahead and shoot a few.